Hey guys, it's History Behind the Warrior, and today I'm going to be talking about Kazumi Mishima. Now before this video starts, I do want to give you all a massive spoiler warning. This will feature stuff from the Tekken 7 story and give you all a very in-depth history of Kazumi Mishima. Out of all of the characters within the Tekken franchise, I would say that Kazumi has been shrouded in mystery for an extremely long amount of time. Tekken's story arc seemed to revolve around the Mishimas, as when they do battle, all hell does break loose. But there have only been a few individuals in the family which we haven't really learned about, and Kazumi up to now is in fact one of them. So on that note, let's actually start talking about Kazumi. Now Kazumi was born into the Hachijo clan, which is in fact a family of assassins. See, for generations and generations, the Hachijos have been the inheritor of a demonic blood curse. Now despite this, they have had the ability to in fact tame this powerful ability, up until Kazuyu's generation. But back on the topics of the Hachijo, they were assassins that targeted members of society who they deemed as a massive threat to the rest of the world, and one person they had their eye on in particular was Heihachi Mishima. The Hachijos were well aware of the ruthlessness of this young man, so what they ended up doing was in fact send Kazumi to his dojo. You see, at the time Heihachi had still been training with his father Jinpachi, and Heihachi at the time was still relatively young, with Kazumi being the same. So when entering the dojo, she would begin training with Jinpachi and Heihachi, and over time Heihachi and Kazumi began to grow close, with Heihachi more or less falling head over heels. Kazumi had hoped that by falling in love with him, that this would in fact hinder his lust for power, and for a substantial amount of time it in fact did. The two had a very young child, Kazuya, and were more or less a very tightly knit family. But it seems like Heihachi's relationship with Kazumi had only kind of postponed the inevitable. Heihachi overthrew his father Jinpachi, and then reformed his company as the Mishima Zaibotsu, in which Heihachi wanted to seek out world conquest. And this is where I like to say the glass kind of shatters. You see, although Kazumi was in love with Heihachi, she still had her commitment to the Hachijo clan. Despite having the Mishima name, she was still in fact loyal to them. So Kazumi would take it on herself to in fact kill Heihachi. It came down to one fateful night where she finally had confronted Heihachi and revealed to him the truth of their ties to the Hachijo clan, and that by taking this stand against the world, he had in fact put her in a position where she couldn't let him live. She would battle her husband and even go to the extent of using her devil form in order to try and kill Heihachi. But unfortunately, despite her best efforts, she was defeated by her husband and was left unconscious on the floor. Now when Heihachi had in fact turned his back to leave the dojo, she would attempt to perform one final strike to kill him, but Heihachi had managed to turn around in time and wrap his fingers around her neck. Knowing that she couldn't get out of this, Kazumi would attempt to pull on his heartstring, telling him of the devastation he would cause, as well as how much they had loved each other, and all of the good times they had together while they were training and even spending time as a family with Kazuya. But Heihachi knew this was a trap, and as much as he had loved his wife, he wouldn't allow anyone to get in the ways of his ambitions. And knowing that there was no other choice, Heihachi broke Kazumi's neck. Now this moment right here is what really had sparked the events from the first ever Tekken onwards. Kazumi's death kind of left a legacy within the Tekken franchise. It sparked the mass hatred between Heihachi and Kazuya. This would in fact also lead to Heihachi throwing Kazuya off a cliff, but in order to determine and understand whether or not he had the same devil gene that his mother had had. And of course, since the boy survived, Heihachi knew that he was correct. And I guess the second part of her legacy is Akuma. See, her relationship with Akuma in this is still extremely sketchy, and not a lot about him has been explained too much. But Akuma had apparently been saved by Kazumi, and he was in debt to her. So if all else failed and Kazumi had died, she'd entrusted Akuma to in fact kill Heihachi and Kazuya. Now some of you are probably thinking why she'd want her own son killed. Well, Kazumi understood what would happen to Kazuya, and that the rift between his father and himself would eventually grow and become something extremely vicious. And knowing that the devil gene would pass over to him, and that a vicious battle between the two would engulf the world, which is why she had given Akuma the duty of taking them out, because essentially it goes against her own personal beliefs, as she wants world peace, but knows that this cannot really be done unless you take out a few people. But this pretty much wraps it up for the Kazumi video, guys. Now I'd been postponing this one as I wanted to play Tekken 7 story mode and get a better understanding of Kazumi as a character. Although the game has been out in Asia for an extremely long amount of time, not much was known about Kazumi up to Tekken 7 Fated Retribution's release, so I was able to play through the story and get really a better understanding of the character. And I do have to admit, this story is in fact extremely tragic. It's one of loss and betrayal, and adds an interesting and very new dynamic to the Mishima family, one that we haven't seen. And in many cases it actually has me sympathize for Heihachi as a character. Things had gotten so out of hand due to his own ambitions, and at the end of the day it's what essentially came around to hurt him. And this whole kind of crazy family dynamic now has finally come to its conclusion in Tekken 7, and I will say it is a wonderful story arc. Despite its multiple flaws in the story, it is pretty damn good. Now I will say that I will be doing a Tekken 7 kind of full on just blown out crazy review next week, so please do keep an eye out for that. I'll be breaking down the story mode, the gameplay, just all kind of bits and pieces to give you guys my opinion and what I kind of stand on the game. Now please do let me know in the comments below, who do you want to see in Tekken 7 Season Pass, and who do you want me to make a video about? Please do comment down below. Now before this video wraps up guys, if possible let's try getting it to about 500 likes. It's a great way of supporting this channel as YouTube's adpocalypse is still currently going on, so it'd help my channel out a ton. Now as always guys, please comment, like, subscribe and share this video with everyone you know. Please take care and I'll see you all next time.